going on, guys? Jesse Haynes with CardLines.com. Today's July 9th. This is a weekly recap. We're going to look back at the biggest headlines from the previous week. That includes the upcoming Nationals, 2 big releases that are coming down the pipe, and even some July auctions you need to make note of. But first, we're going to start by talking about Wembanyama's Summer League debut. But first, really important, we do a lot for you. We try to provide free content to keep you educated, but if you could do us a big solid and like and subscribe, it would mean a lot. All you have to do is just press that like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you want to turn on the bell to enable notifications, we would greatly appreciate it. And now, on to this week. So Wembanyama started last night, and he was not very good. Now, this is not our article, but I'm just talking through some things and narrating through a lens of somebody who's a potential sports card investor and what I'm going to learn and take away from the situation. Here's his stat line. He had 9 points, 8 boards, 5 blocks. He didn't shoot good at all, 2 of 13. He had a couple air balls, and he looked kind of just rusty, is how I'd put it. A little shaky, maybe uncertain. Here's my takeaways. For one, this guy just played a championship of his EuroLeague like 3 weeks ago, and since then he's been whisked around the United States. He's met a ton of celebrities. He's been introduced to this whole new world of lifestyle. He's been drafted into an organization where he's getting to know some of the pioneers of that organization and learn from them, but he hasn't been in the gym much. I know just in my personal experience, anytime that I'm not in the gym for a week or two, my shot's broken when I get back. He's just not had the time. He's been doing, honestly, the more important things for now in his young career, and he is going to find his sea legs and get back to the grind. So I'm not going to overreact. I saw so many people last night on social media saying Scoot Henderson's better, Brandon Miller should have been the #1 pick, that kind of stuff. That's ridiculous. It is way too early on, so let's just give the young man a chance to actually even do his thing. I did see 3 things that I liked from Wembanyama last night. For one, he has this high IQ defensive ability. He was moving, he was switching, he was playing well, he was floating over, he was contesting at the rim. He closed out on a 3 that Brandon Miller tried to shoot over him and covered so much space that he managed to not only block the shot, but Miller afterwards just looked very astonished to see how much ground he covered. He has that defensive IQ, and just from my experience watching the league, that's something you can't learn. He has it, he uses it well, and when you have a 7'5" frame to go with it, it's a good combination. Number 2, his passing is just like that. He sees the floor well. He had a couple nice assists on little dump passes. He draw a double, and he's not going to try to take over the game and murder you in maybe a Kobe Bryant way, but he was facilitating. He looked like a Jokic or a LeBron in some ways, where he was playing off the dribble and making his teammates around him so much better. And most importantly, he was very mature. He knew he didn't have a good game, and afterwards he came to the podium and says, you know what, it was not a good one. I felt a little bit shaky, didn't feel like I knew what I was doing out there. But he's going to get better. He knows that, he's confident, and he seems like a hard-working guy who's very level-headed. So don't be deterred yet. Let's give him some chance. And also, there's not a whole lot of Wembanyama cards to buy right now anyways, so don't immediately react. But one big takeaway here as a sports card investor is that the market moves and overreacts so fast that it's just best to stay away and not make any impulse decisions unless there's somebody who we know is going to be good and we see a 20% swing because everybody changes their mind overnight. Now, with that, let's go to CardLines.com and look at some of the cardline stories from the week. In the previous week, we covered a lot of ground, a lot of different stories, everything from Austin Riley prospect cards that you should invest in to advice for what happens if you buy a fake card on eBay or steps to take to prevent it, and then some releases. But we're going to start things off with a look at the July auctions, and there's only going to be 2 auctions this month. But they're both big houses, very notable places, a lot of awesome cards. So Clean Sweep has this $5 reserve auction. There are a lot of big cards. Both of these this summer shade baseball, but it kind of makes sense since we're in the baseball season. There's a lot of grading trends that are pointing to a rise in baseball right now, so it makes sense that the auction houses are reflecting the interest of the collector. Clean Sweep is going to be July 12th, so if you're watching this, you have a few more days. And then on the 14th or 15th, Heritage Auctions has this nice summer sports card catalog auction. Again, it's old baseball. Some of these cards date back to as early as 1871, and there are a lot of legendary baseball cards in this one. And there are a few other weekly auctions this month. Another one of the big headlines is eBay's move to regulate trading card breaks. Basically, to summarize this article, eBay is saying, hey, you have to be approved to be a breaker after July 18th. When you read breaking headlines, it's usually not good things, even ESPN's article last week that we covered. But it's kind of one of those things, the planes that make the news are the ones that don't land, not the ones that land safely, and that is few and far between. 2 negative impacts I can see. For one, there's people that use this as pretty consistent income, and now they won't be able to unless they're pre-approved breakers. And then less breaks also just means less listings, and when there's less listings, smaller supply, higher demand, there's probably going to be a premium put on eBay breaks now, and it will cost people participating in them a bit more. Last week we talked about the Topps buyback program, and this week we have some how-to information on how to leverage the buyback payout to beat the Las Vegas odds for MVP. So this is kind of a fun mathematical article. We nerded out a little bit. There's a video, a YouTube short, that if you haven't seen it, check it out. It kind of explains the logic here in one short, fast-talking minute. But the driving narrative here is that if you manage to find somebody who has great odds, you can still most likely buy these cards at a discount and set yourself up in a position so that you have a better return on investment if you just buy MVP contender cards and send them in for Topps credit than if I were to go to the Vegas window today and bet Shohei to be MVP. We did 2 big releases, and this week we also did 2 big upcoming previews. Topps Finest Baseball. This is a product that in many ways is the grandfather of the Prism card. They introduced the refractor, and it's still coming out July 7th, 2023, all these years later with a big rainbow of colors and a lot of fun possibility. Hobby packs contain 5 cards per pack, so you're looking at 60 cards per box and a total of 2 chrome autographs per box. These boxes are going to sell for $200 to $225 and have a lot of potential for some big pulls. Goodwin's Champions come out this week for 2022, and it's a really fun rip. The article talks about the different selling points. These cards don't age, admittedly, very well, but you get 5 packs of 18 cards per box, and a hobby box is only $120, so it's a mixed sports celebrity box. So you get some rookies, you get some LeBron Jameses, and you get even some Michael Jordans. A lot of stuff, and you even can get some entomology cards. There have been tiger cards and shark cards and all kinds of stuff in the past. None of that stuff necessarily ages well, but if you get a cool autograph like this Ken Griffey Jr., then you're going to be probably laughing to the bank on a $120 investment. And last but not least, this is a little bit older article, but I definitely want to talk about it. The 2023 National is just a couple weeks away. It's July 26th through the 30th in Illinois, and it is going to be a pretty big event once again this year, so it can be kind of overwhelming if it's your first time experience, but don't worry, the CardLines team has you covered. We put together not only tips of how to buy and sell cards, but even a packing list of everything that you need to do in order to get the most out of your national experience. And it's a good event. It's going to bring a lot of the collector community together, and it is something that every collector should partake in. That's a wrap for this week. Be sure to come back next time, and we have some more good stuff coming down the pipe.